Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 career mode with HasF1 team for today's episode for the Italian Grand Prix. If you missed the last episode of the Belgian Grand Prix, check that one out before you see this one. So yeah, two upgrades, but they are sadly not going to be done for this episode's Italian Grand Prix. So yeah, we're just moving forward in the calendar, check the final tire allocation and jump into the race weekend. So here we are then at the race weekend for the 2020 Italian Grand Prix. The weather forecast is a dry qualifying and race. We are still the third worst team on the grid, but I'm feeling confident about this weekend as we now go into qualifying. So here we are then, qualifying for the 2020 Italian Grand Prix as we start our first flying lap of this qualifying session. Yeah, as I said before, I'm really confident about this race weekend because, we have the second best engine on the whole grid. And yeah, Italy is a racetrack where the engine is really, really important. I on purpose went for a low downforce setup, but that's actually like pretty clear that you take that for Italy. So yeah, we come now as we exceed the track limits, get a warning there, come across the line for our first flying lap. It is P6 in front of Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris. That's great. So yeah, after the first run, just checking Carlos Sainz in P2. We are down in P8, but a lot of people didn't set a lap time yet, so we have 2 more laps to go. And then here we are for the start of our second flying lap in this qualifying session. We are currently in P12 at the moment, in front of Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo, but behind of Daniel Kvyat as we break into turn 1. Try to get turn 1 a bit better in the last run, but we lock up on the front right tire. That was not great. We lose a lot of time, as you can see on the top right. But the lap is still long, although there are not many opportunities to claw that lost time back, since there are not many corners and a lot of straights. But we'll see what we can do. If this run isn't great, we still have the other run, the third run, as we get onto the gravel. Turning for the next corner. Get on power early, brake a bit earlier, turn in as we go green, but we get onto the gravel and the car spins. The car spins round. We get onto the gravel and we lose the rear and the car spins round. Oh, that was unfortunate, really. We went green after this corner, got onto the gravel, and then the back end just slipped away, and we spun round. Yeah, just here, another replay. As I carried a lot of speed into this corner, went onto the gravel, and just spun round. Unfortunate, but we still have 1 more lap to go, so that's a positive. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton is currently in P1. We are somehow in P10 right now. And our teammate in P19, maybe some people got their lap time deleted. I don't know. I'll take it. We're just going to fast forward the time and then go for our final run in this 2020 Italian Grand Prix qualifying session. So yeah, here we are then for the start of our final run in this qualifying session. We are back down to P12 as Charles Leclerc is now in P10 and Carlos Sainz is somehow now in P11. He was P2 after the first runs, but yeah, P11 for him now. We will try to improve our lap time as we go green on the top right, as you can see, but straight away go back to red. But that's not much time that we lost or are behind, just not even 1/10, slower than 1/10. As we break into the next few corners and we gain a massive chunk of time. We've gained like 3/10 in that corner, and we are currently 6/10 up on our personal best lap time as we break one more time for Parabolica. Get on the power early, try not to go too wide out as we gain 6/10 on this whole lap. Cross the line, what's it going to be? It's P5! Oh my god, P5 for the Italian Grand Prix, woohoo! Oh my god, it's P5 for the Italian Grand Prix. Wow, I don't even have words for that. P5 for us. We are qualifying Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Wow, what a qualifying for us. Our teammate in P18, and now let's jump into the race.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes, and with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Leclerc, the captain, and Verstappen, Ocon, Perez, Ricciardo, and Carlos Sainz, Stroll, Norris, Sebastian Vettel, and Kvyat, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen, and Roman Grosjean, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So yeah, here we are then on the grid for the 2020 Italian Grand Prix, starting from P5, still buzzing from that qualifying session. I hope we have a good race now too. And now let's go into the race as we build up the reps and wait for 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go. We get a good start compared to Charles Leclerc, but we can't really overtake him, but we have a great start compared to the others behind us. We break a bit later than Charles Leclerc into turn 1. We see the gap around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Can we get around the outside of Lewis Hamilton? Try to get on the power early now. Lewis Hamilton gets the better acceleration out of turn 2. But we will try to slipstream him and maybe make a move into the next corner. As we break into the next corner, break a bit too late, lock up and almost hit Valtteri Bottas. But we just managed to avoid Valtteri Bottas and avoid contact there. That was close. But we are up into P3, a podium position currently. After half a lap in this Italian Grand Prix, this is getting even better. So now we jump to the end of lap 2 as currently, or to the beginning of lap 2, I'm sorry, as we get onto the gravel, and this will allow Lewis Hamilton to try to maybe make a move on us, but we cover the inside, push him a bit wide to the outside, and he's unable to make the move, and we are still in P3 in this Italian Grand Prix on lap 2, as currently in front of us, Alexander Albon leads this race, and he's fighting with Valtteri Bottas currently. Lewis Hamilton doesn't have the DRS yet, so he can't come too close to try to make a move. So now we jump to the end of lap 2. Still no DRS for this next straight, but Lewis Hamilton is right up our gearbox. He's slipstreaming us. He's going to the outside. We're side by side now, but he's losing speed now because we have the better speed with the engine down the straight. As we break into turn 1, he breaks a bit later, but we try to outbrake him, lock up on the both tires, just avoid to hit him, go a bit wide to give him the space, but we keep ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I think Charles Leclerc has overtook Lewis Hamilton now too. So Lewis Hamilton was about to overtake us for P3, but then Charles Leclerc overtook him for P4, and Lewis Hamilton is down in P5 right now. And Charles Leclerc is now the car right behind us in the Ferrari in this Italian Grand Prix. As we move to the end of lap 3, we just corrected the rear, as you can see maybe, but Charles Leclerc is slipstreaming us, and he has good pace down the straight. He's going to try to maybe make a move around the outside into Parabolica, but it's better to have the inside line for this corner, but he just gets great drive around the outside there. But we're still side to side. We're going to go side to side into this main straight, we will have the DRS because he was in front of us in the detection zone, but Lewis Hamilton is also slipstreaming us. And I think Lewis Hamilton might edge ahead of Charles Leclerc. Yes, he will. We overtook Charles Leclerc back and we're back up into P3. And Lewis Hamilton overtook Charles Leclerc, as did Esteban Ocon, as you can see now. This Italian Grand Prix is going mad right now, as Valtteri Bottas took the lead off Alex Albon, but Esteban Ocon is now P5 and Charles Leclerc way down in P6 now. He was P3 and now he's P6, but we have to concentrate now to try to stay ahead of Lewis Hamilton. It is lap 4 now and we're going to come to lap 5, but Lewis Hamilton will have the DRS and he just blasts past us. There's nothing we could do about that, but Esteban Ocon also has the DRS. He's going to come close, but not close enough to make a move. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton unfortunately overtakes us for P3. We are no longer in a podium position, but that was kind of, you could expect that, because the Mercedes is the best car in the grid and we're the third worst car. But yeah, it was great being in that P3 spot for such a long time. For 5 laps we held that P3 slot. I would have never expected something like that at the beginning of the weekend. I said I was really confident about this weekend, but well, I would have not imagined a scenario like this, being in P3 for 5 laps. But yeah, we still have a long race to go, 7 more laps to go. Still a lot of things can happen, and we're currently in P4, which is still a really good result if we would stay in P4, as we get a small warning for exceeding track limits. Nothing too major, but we are still pretty close behind Lewis Hamilton, which means we will have DRS down this next back straight, which will give us a really good boost. And with the strong engine we have, this will be even better. There might be a chance that we can re-overtake Lewis Hamilton. We open the DRS, we slipstream Lewis Hamilton, we're gaining on him. Are we getting enough before the braking zone? We try to have a look, but we're too far behind, as we have to hit the brakes in order to not hit him there in the end. Oh, that was close. Just a bit too far behind of Lewis Hamilton. But that would have been great if we could have overtaken Lewis Hamilton back up into P3. But that's how it is. We're still in P4. Still a lot to fight. So yeah, we move now to the end of lap 6, and Esteban Ocon is slipstreaming us down this back straight before Parabolica, and Esteban Ocon has overtook us for P4. Max Verstappen has a little look, but we are now down into P5 as we come in for our one and only pit stop in this race. Yeah, this is what I meant. We lost the P3 spot, but there is still a long way to go. But it can sadly also go backwards, as Esteban Ocon just before our pit stop overtook us for P4. To be honest, Esteban Ocon came out of nowhere. I didn't even have a clue that he was so far up the grid with his Renault car, but yeah. Let's see. We fitted the medium tires. We are on our outlap now, and we will need the outlap of our life to get back ahead of Esteban Ocon. If he pits in the next lap. Maybe he pits also 2 laps or 3 laps later, you never know. So yeah, a good outlap now needed from us. Jump to the end of lap 7, to the end of our outlap. Lewis Hamilton has gotten away from us, but you can see on the bottom left now, we have jumped all the cars, but Esteban Ocon is not one of those cars, so he still did not make a pit stop. So he will make a pit stop in this lap, so we need a great lap now again from us. As we now jump to the end of lap 8 to lap 9, and you can see on the bottom left, there's the yellow dot of Esteban Ocon, and we have jumped Esteban Ocon. The undercut has worked. We are back up into P4. Right now it's still P5 because someone in front didn't make a pit stop, but it's P4. Great stuff from us. 2 great laps from us. Just exactly what we needed. Great stuff. And we now jump all the way to the end of lap 11 to lap 12, but Esteban Ocon has caught back up to us. He will have DRS for this next race. He's slipstreaming us. He's going to the outside. The braking zone is coming up, thankfully, as we break into turn 1. Side by side, he locks up. We didn't lock up, but we get back ahead of Esteban Ocon. We're still in P4. We fought back there as he was trying to make a move on us into turn 1, but he locked up, and we saw the opportunity and went back down the inside of him. back up into P4. This would be really great if we can hold this before. This would be our best finish in Formula 1 and Haas F1 team's joint best finish in Formula 1. Because in real life they finished 4th and 5th in the Austrian Grand Prix 2018. So we hope we can make this happen once again for Haas F1 team. As we now move from lap 12 to lap 13, the final lap of this Italian Grand Prix. Esteban Ocon steals DRS from us. He is further ahead than in the lap before, but we break a bit later. He locks up too, as do we. As we give him the space through the next corner, accelerate. We get the better acceleration, and we are back ahead of Esteban Ocon. But this is not done yet. He will have the slipstream on us now through this next small straight. As we come to the next chicane, we'll go to the outside. We will cover the inside, break into the next corner as we break later than Esteban Ocon and keep ahead of him and keep our place and keep the P4 as he has fallen back a bit in these last two corners. Now the final two straights and then the Parabolica before the finish line. He will have DRS on this straight as Carlos Sainz sets the fastest lap of the race. He's probably at the back of the field. Esteban Ocon has DRS but he does gain on us, but not enough to make a move through the Ascari chicane for the final time in this race. Now down this back straight up until Parabolica, he's not really gaining enough on us as Valtteri Bottas wins this Italian Grand Prix. We come through Parabolica for the final time in this race, round Parabolica, and we will finish this Italian Grand Prix in P4. Let's go!
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
It's certainly been an incredible year for Formula One, and our drivers have all pushed themselves this season, making it one of the most compelling years of racing in history. There can only be one champion, however, and here they are now, our new Formula One World Drivers' Champion. That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So yeah, as you just saw too, Lewis Hamilton won the championship with 2 more races to go. Two races to go. He won the championship. We finished in P4. What a finish, what a race, what a result. Really, really happy with this race. Our best finish in Formula 1. We edged back ahead of Lance Stroll in the championship, back up into P10. In the constructors, we're still a bit in no man's land there. But wow, what a race. Really, really happy with this race. And yeah, 2 more races to go in the season. Great race from us this time. So yeah, now we are back here in our team HQ. Have a lot of R&D points. There will be a lot of time until the next race in Japan. So probably all the upgrades that we will get in for the next race will be done for the next race, as we get an upgrade on the chassis side and durability side, the one that failed, and we will get an additional one on the durability side. So yeah, I say it once again, great race from us here in Italy. P4 finish in the end, our best finish in Formula 1. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more content of my F1 2020 career mode. I hope you enjoyed it. and see you next time. Goodbye.